All right, ready? I don't care about your feelings.
That was so off. You'd be left of Lenin.
I can't believe you said that. Oh, jeez.
You have no power here.
What? Just two brothers.
It's just two brothers.
So, that brings us back to this critical race theory thing and how we're saying that, hey, at the end of all this, now one of the big pushes is, oh, well, if you're a critical race theory denier, then you're part of this terrorist group, concerned parent that just needs to let the school boards do what they're doing. But they're also saying that this doesn't exist and they're not actually teaching it. And I think that got to be the operation, the MO. So they're just going to be like, no, we've abandoned that. And then they'll just do it anyway.
Oh, well, what they're trying to do is they're trying to just obfuscate, right? They're trying to not actually have the discussion. So what they'll do is they will say that, firstly, critical race theory isn't being taught. And then when you say, no, yes, it is. Then they're going to go on to say, oh, well, you just don't want slavery or the history of America to be taught. Or how do we talk about race? And that is how they're going to flip it. They're going to try and say that just teaching normal American history, which I don't think anyone here is against. Yeah, we should learn everything in American history. Because it actually paints a very good picture of how when you set up and give people freedom, it will lead to eventually more freedom. That is the true story. But what they want to try and paint is this other picture, and they're just going to say, oh, well, if you don't teach normal American history, then that's what you mean. When we say critical race theory, we actually just mean normal American history. And that just isn't the truth. So that you got it comes back again to you have to make them define what they are talking about. Because we're talking about a definitional problem, right? When we say critical race theory, we are talking about the idea that people are inherently oppressors and oppressed. That America is systemically racist, and that is the cornerstone of it. And that there are these systems of power that are keeping people of color or the dispossessed down. But that's not true. Show me one policy that is racist against people of color. You can't. I can show you a policy that is racist against white and Asian people, though. And that's, you see, and that's the argument that they're not trying to have. They really don't want to have it. So what they're going to do is they're going to obfuscate, they're going to try and change their definitions, and they're just going to hope that you don't notice. And that's what it is. And that's the argument that you can see happening in the media right now. They don't want to define it. They won't define it. And they'll just say it isn't happening. And then when you question it, they'll say, oh, well, you don't want the history of America to be taught. And that isn't true, and it's because they're trying to obfuscate the definition.
Well, and what they'll do is that you won't see CRT on a syllabus or something like that. That's what they'll do. They'll just include it in, and it won't be, technically the program, right? It's just going to get thrown in there. I mean, I've seen this my whole life, because I'm pretty loud and I'll say stuff to people. And I mean, even when I was, younger and in school and whatnot, I'd say things, and I there was always this liberal undertone. It wasn't part of the curriculum, but the teachers just did it anyway. It's because they're union hacks who are just going to push the liberal point of view because their point is of you being there is for them to brainwash you. I mean, that's really, I mean, that's the only thing that even makes sense if you think about it. Why do they want to pay for free all-day preschool? It's because they want your kids in there earlier before they can distinguish between right and wrong. So what they're going to do is they're going to just do it, and it's not going to be part of the curriculum. It's just going to be thrown in there.